Have you ever realized you were slowly losing yourself to a job you thought you loved? Sometimes we dedicate our lives to a career or a goal, pouring in our sweat, time and energy, only to find we've changed in the process. We become so consumed with climbing the ladder of success that we lose sight of ourselves along the way. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get swept up in the hustle culture. We're often told to push through, grind harder, and sacrifice our well-being for the sake of ambition. But what if this relentless pursuit comes at the expense of our core values and personal fulfillment? How do we find success without selling out who we are? Let's take the tale of Carlos, a talented chef in his late 30s. His journey began like a scene from an inspiring movie. As a young man, he spent countless hours honing his culinary skills, learning from the best and turning his passion for cooking into a fine-tuned craft. His dedication didn't go unnoticed. Soon he was recruited by a prestigious Manhattan restaurant known for its exquisite cuisine and even more cutthroat competition. For Carlos, this was the opportunity he'd been waiting for, a chance to prove himself on the grand stage of New York's culinary scene. The initial days were everything he'd dreamed of. The energy in the kitchen was electric, the ingredients were top-notch, and each dish he prepared was a masterpiece. But as the months rolled by, the shine began to fade. The long hours, the grueling shifts, and the constant pressure took a toll on him. He found himself regularly missing family events, piling on the stress and snapping at colleagues. His personal life suffered, and the joy of cooking slowly turned into a chore. Despite the challenges, Carlos pushed on. He was determined to hold his ground in that kitchen, to carve out a space for himself in that demanding environment. But his resolve started to crumble under the weight of exhaustion. One night during the dinner rush, a young cook in the prep kitchen, barely out of his teens, reached a breaking point. He collapsed on the kitchen floor, overwhelmed by the stress. Watching paramedics wheel the young man away, Carlos felt a jolt of recognition. In that moment, he saw his younger self in the unconscious cook, the same drive, the same ambition, and the same vulnerability. It was a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the human cost of their relentless pursuit of culinary perfection. As the shock wore off, a wave of nausea washed over him. The camaraderie among the kitchen staff, the one thing that had kept him going, had vanished, replaced by exhaustion, resentment, and a deep sense of unease. Suddenly, the future he'd been working so hard to build seemed bleak and unfulfilling. When Carlos resigned from the restaurant, his colleagues were shocked. After all, he'd reached the pinnacle of culinary success, or so everyone thought. Back at his small apartment, surrounded by his meager belongings, Carlos felt a mix of relief and uncertainty. The familiar ache of longing for something more, something better, returned. Determined to forge a different path, he invested his savings into opening a small neighborhood cafe. The atmosphere was relaxed, the menu simple, yet satisfying. And the focus was on balance, both in the meals they served and the lifestyle they promoted. Carlos discovered that success wasn't just about prestige or the number of hours you worked. It was about living a life that was true to your values, even if it meant taking a step back from the spotlight. While his new cafe was a far cry from the bustling high-end restaurant, Carlos found a sense of fulfillment there that had eluded him in the gourmet kitchen. The challenge of building a small business owner, the satisfaction of serving his community, and the freedom to prioritize his well-being made every drop of sweat and every sleepless night worthwhile. As the years passed, Carlos's cafe became a neighborhood staple, a place where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with laughter, shared stories, and the quiet hum of contentment. Looking back, he knew he'd made the right decision. He may have traded the white heat of the gourmet kitchen for the gentle simmer of his cafe, but he gained something far more valuable, a life in harmony with his values, a thriving business, and most importantly, himself. So remember, dear friends, the pursuit of success shouldn't come at the cost of your true self. Sometimes the greatest success lies in setting boundaries, prioritizing your well-being, and living a life that's true to who you are. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share it with your loved ones. Until next time,